Alright, real quick before we continue this, remember in the last part when we heard Angie talk about the La Plata theory and Enora theory? I didn't even know what those were, so I checked to see what those entailed, and you don't really find that much information about it. So maybe this is one of those theories. I know that La Plata and Enora are places, so I'm thinking that those are based on places that Angie checked to see if Kenzo's beloved hometown is either La Plata or Enora or something like that. That or maybe like witch hunters, or maybe even in real life, those who have read Umineko, Japanese people who have read the Umineko back when these episodes were made, were making theories about the location of the key and such. And Ryukishi decided, hey, let me throw in like a reference to the kinds of theories that the readers were making at the time. So maybe that might be it for what the La Plata theory and the Nora theory entailed. Maybe some form of reference to when the readers were making theories about the location of the key and such for the epitaph. So there's that.
私たちはいつまでここに閉じ込められていればいいのでしょうか。
下手をすると月曜の朝まで丸々一昼夜はいてもらうことになるかもしれない。本当にお二人には申し訳なく思うよ。
Judge and Bladder could clear the space on the floor, then spread the blankets there. They also left the canned food, crackers, and other light snacks they had brought.
月曜の朝までを二人でこの量じゃ辛いな。
You know, actually, there was one more thing that I wanna mention. Like continuing on from where I ended the whole discussion from before. You have Goran Kumasa here saying that Kenzo is responsible. Like, I can understand those who have been captured, like Kraus and the rest, were forced to say that it is Kenzo, when in actuality it is someone else, but Goran Kumasa too? I mean, maybe?
せめて厨房に言われたなら。
余計な場所には行くなと言われてる。私たちは監視されてるらしいしな。くそ。
何もお力になれないことを申し訳なく思います。こんな時に皆さんのおそばにいてこその私どもなのに。
仕方ないです。それより熊沢さんをよろしく頼みますね。何が起こるかわからない。いざという時は臨機応変に助けてほしい。そして何よりも無事でいてほしい。
ええ、分かっています。皆さんこそ気をつけてくださいね。今の親方様はまるで人の命をチェスの駒のように奪います。気をつけてください。
Goda stared at the floor, remembering the atrocity in the dining hall, even now unable to believe what had happened. And he hung his head in shame at his inability to fully describe that terror.
ありがとう。くれぐれも注意してくださいね。熊沢さんも。
ジョージさんたちもくれぐれもご用心なさってくださいね。もう私には何が何やらさっぱりわかりませんとも。
それじゃあ僕たちは行きます。行こう、バトラ君、ジェシカちゃん。ほら、マリアちゃんも。
Looking at the painful expression on the faces of the pair to be imprisoned, it became hard to close the shutter. But we cannot disobey. We're being watched. We brought the shutter down and locked it. Then George headed to the small window on the side of the storehouse. It was a small latticed window which could only be used for light and ventilation. It looked like something from a jail, making the two of them seem even more pitiable. But on the other hand, it would protect them from Kinzo and his subordinates. Or so one hope. He opened the window and called out.
大丈夫ですか？寒くないですか？
ええ、毛布をこんなにいただきましたからね。くるまっていればきっと平気ですよ。
石油ストーブとかを持ってくればよかったな。
ここじゃ換気できないからね。辛いだろうけど今は仕方がない。僕たちは人質を取られている。逆らえない。
畜生。なんとかキリエさんたちを救出することができれば。
聞かれてるかもしれないよ。ゴーダさん、これそのシャッターの鍵です。
George threw the key in through the tiny window.
確かにお預かりします。
Goda took the key, and after showing it to Kumasa, placed it in his own pocket. There was only one key to the gardening shed's shutter, and that was being held by those two who were locked up inside it. If the children had held onto it, then if it was stolen from them by some chance, that would risk exposing the lives of those in the shed to danger. Even with the key, the shutter could not be opened from the inside. It satisfied Kinzo's demand. However, there was no longer any way to open the shed from the outside either. Wouldn't the master key work on this too? Probably not. Like, I can see the master key is working on doors inside the mansion and the guest house, and maybe Kudorin and such, but the gardening storehouse? I don't know. This will protect them. Kinzo had ordered that they be confined, and we could do nothing but trust that this cold locked room would protect them. Actually, the gardening storehouse. This reminds me of back in the first game when we found the 6 dead people inside this. So I guess there's no way of opening it from inside, right? Only from outside if it's locked. So I wonder. Holding Maria's hand, Jessica watched George hand over the key, then looked over the thickets in the pitch-black rose garden. Somewhere in this darkness, somebody was hiding, watching to see whether they obeyed orders or not. Of course, merely pointing their flashlights over there did nothing to make any suspicious silhouettes appear. But somebody was surely out there, hiding and watching. They were hit many times with the urge to scream at them, but they held that back for a reason. The 4 children left the area behind, repeatedly looking back over their shoulders. The feeble light from the light bulb in the gardening storehouse was seeping out slightly. Was it at all possible that this insane incident would somehow come to an end, so that they could see those two again? To George, who had closed the shutter himself, the resistance of the lock made it feel as though he had killed them with his own hands.
それでも俺たちは逆らえないんだよな。
I mean, there's also the possibility of Maria leaving a letter of discord inside the storehouse, and thus Kumasawa and Goda would suspect each other. And worst case scenario, they would kill each other in the process somehow. I mean, that would be just fantastic.
テストだと。クソじじいめ、ふざけやがって。それで母さんたちが殺されて、父さんたちが捕まって。理解できねえぜ。ぶっこ。
大丈 丈夫だよ、ジェシカお姉ちゃん。悲しくなんかないよ。
マリア。
もうすぐ魔女は蘇る。すぐに黄金鏡で会えるよ。あいて。
不謹慎なことで笑うんじゃねえぜ。何が魔女復活の儀式だ。妄想はじいさまの頭の中だけにしときゃいいものを大勢巻き込みやがって。こいつは高くつくぜ。畜生め。
ゲストハウスに戻ろう。おじい様から電話があった際に不在だったらまずい。
Urged on by George, everyone began walking towards the guest house. At that moment, Jessica spun around and roared towards the darkness of the rose garden.
おい、誰か見てんだろ。ジジイに伝えとけ。絶対にぶち殺してやるってな。行こう。
Of course, there was no reply. Only the howl of the wind and rain. The children returned to the guest house. I mean, guess I should do this too. Tell Kinzo that he is a sore loser that couldn't get any pussy. He's compensating with gold and trying to revive a dead witch. Way above his league. Alright, let's go. In fear of what would be waiting for them when they got back. After they departed, from the exact point in the darkness that Jessica had yelled at, 2 rabbit ears sprung up.
ごめんなさい。バレてました。45がすっとろいからバレたに。竜王様に怒られる。ごめんなさい。竜王様に言いつけるのは許してください。
黙れ、静かに。どうせハッタリだ。ゴーダと熊沢の監禁は確認した。任務完了。報告に戻るぞ。
イエーイイエーイ。泣いた。
連帯責任で人参と水だけの刑になりたいか。行くぞ。
It certainly seemed to be a fact that they were being watched. Because once they returned to the cousin's room and turned the lights on and laid down on their beds, the phone rang again. Up until now, Jessica had been answering the phone, seeing as it was her house. But now it was George, as the eldest, who picked it up. This time, Kiriya-san was on the other end on the phone. And George handed it to Butler out of consideration. Okay, that's good.
もしもし、キリエさんか。そっちは大丈夫なのか。
心配をありがとう。今のところは快適よ。ごめんなさい。死後は慎めと命令されてる。今から伝えることをよく聞いて。
And the fact that they were hostages still hadn't changed. And Kinzo or one of his subordinates was probably listening to this conversation. Bella restrained the urge to talk about other things, and focused on what Kiria had to say.
テストはジェシカちゃん、ジョージ君、バトラ君、そしてマリアちゃんの順で行われるそうよ。順番に呼び出すから、それまでその部屋を出ないこと。呼び出された者は一人で指定された場所に向かうこと。
Bella repeated it out loud so that his cousins would also understand.
ジェシカ、兄貴、俺、マリアの順で 呼び出しがあるまで部屋にいろ。だな。わかった。マリアもなのかよ。9歳の子にまで。クソジジイは何を強いる気なんだ。畜生め。
後ろ宮家の命運はあなたたちに握られてるわ。頑張って。
ああ。
Better notice the strange nuance in Kitty's words. Even without any blood connection, he could still understand thanks to the long-lasting bond they shared. Now is not the time to worry about the future of the Ushigamiya family. That wasn't the message that Kitty wanted to send. She probably meant, there is no way for us to escape from this dungeon, and we can only wait to be rescued. Our lives are in your hands. Something like that.
ああ、任せてくれ。どんなテストか知らねえが上等だぜ。受けて立ってやら。本気のテストなんだよな。マジにやっちまっていいんだよな。
ええ、本気のテストよ。おじい様も本気で試すつもりでいるわ。
ダメだな。全然ダメだぜ。死にかけの老いぼれが俺と本気？寝言は棺に入ってから言いやがれ。そこにいるジジイに言っとけ。次期当主は俺だ。その最初の仕事はてめえの面に鉄拳ぶち込んでやることだってな。
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about becoming the next head, but I'm totally down for a battler punching Kinzo or the hidden culprit in the face. Maybe even slam their head into a table or something like that. My god! These people with their drills and their hammers and their bonk bonk and you know what, I'm gonna take a break over here.
The next day.
Even without Kiria having to repeat it, Battler's powerful declaration of war reached Kinzo's ears.
バトラー、それは実に楽しみであるぞ。一度は後ろ宮の名を捨てた男が何を身につけ、何の境地に至って我が前に現れるというのか楽しみにしている。そう伝えよ。
Unfortunately, Kinzo's voice was not picked up by the receiver, so Kiria spoke for him. I don't know. I mean, can you put Kinzo on receiver for him to talk to Battler a little bit? Battler definitely has some stuff to say to him, so it would be lovely for Kinzo to actually hear from Battler what he has to say. Just saying.
大いに上等だそうよ。いい？バトラ君。手加減は不要よ。あなたはルドルフさんの息子。いいえ、私の息子よ。誰に自慢しても恥ずかしくないところを私にも見せてちょうだい。あなたに全てを託すわ。
了解だぜ、母ちゃん。あとは任せておけ。
Right. Whatever would happen, Battler will manage through it like always. I mean, he has to do this. Not just for everyone here on the island right now, but also for Angie. She is fighting her own war, and so is Battler.
私たち全員は当主跡継ぎの資格を失っている。もう私たちは取られてゲーム版から外された駒も同然よ。だからあなたたちだけで戦って。
キリエさん。
The nuance of those words was, we've already given up. You can forget about us. But for that reason, I won't give up. I'm going to wreck this test or whatever, and save everyone.
それでは、一番最初のジェシカちゃんへのテストの指示よ。自分の部屋へ行けですって。
自分の部屋？
お屋敷のジェシカちゃんの自室って意味のよね。
ジェシカに代わる。
直接伝えてやってくれ。ジェシカ。
もしもし。はい。わかりました。
私からか。もう覚悟決めたぜ。行ってくるぜ。
In actuality, Jessica was probably feeling the fear of a girl her age. But she buried those feelings and strengthened her resolve.
用心してね。
You can do it, Jess. I will be rooting for you.
私たちは監視されてんだろ。余計なこともできない。言いなりになるしかないさ。
食堂でジジイは何のためらいもなく瞬く間に6人を殺したという。それは俺たちに対しても同じかもな。
分かってる。返り討ちにしてやるぜ。
無茶はダメだよ。危険だと思ったら自分を最優先にして。クラウスおじさんが自分のために娘が犠牲になったことを知ったら胸が張り裂けてしまうに違いないから。
逆も同じだぜ。父さんと母さんが殺されて私だけが生き残ったら私の胸だって張り裂けるぜ。
バトラ君、さっきの話は本当だよね。
ああ、キリエさんたちはもう覚悟を決めている。
ならなおのこと上等だぜ。みんなの命は私たちの双剣にかかってるってことだ。人質みんなは囚われの身で何もできない。なら私たちが何とかするしかねえんだぜ。
もし何かあったらゲストハウスに逃げ戻って。その時点で僕たちがおじい様のゲームに付き合うのは終了だ。
兄貴。
その時点で僕たちは宣戦布告。どこかに閉じ込められている彼らを救い出し、おじい様には叱るべき処遇を与える。
いいのか兄貴。シャノンちゃんもいるんだろ。
だからといって僕は座して婚約者が殺されるのを待ちはしないよ。僕が恐ろしいのはおじい様にシャノンが殺されるかもしれないことに怯えることじゃない。僕の婚約者に恐怖を味わわせたクソじじいを君らが僕より先にぶん殴っちまうことだけさ。
なるほどな。確かにこいつは次期当主が誰かを決めるってテストらしいぜ。
だな。クソじじいの顔面に一番最初に拳をお見舞いしたやつが次の当主だぜ。
George, Butler, and Jessica each forcefully nodded their heads and put their fists together. My babies! Then it is settled. Let us do our best to win this game on a bang. Do as much damage as you possibly can. Then, Jessica headed off to her own room, as designated. Her form disappeared into the darkness of the Rose Garden, which was shaking in the violent winds. As they saw her off, George and Bella hardened their trembling fists. Jessica's back was watched through the window by Nadia, who had remained upstairs. Her expression was blank.
みんなは何を息巻いてるのかな。ベアトリーチェが蘇ればみんな生き返らせてもらえるのにね。
Jessica's form had already been completely swallowed up by the darkness. At the time, the phone began to ring again. Bella and George heard it and came clamoring back, but Maria picked it up the receiver right away.
もしもし。
マリア様ですか？シャノンです。ジョージ様に代わっていただけますか？
And this time, it was Shannon on the phone. And the purpose of the message was to tell the next person, George, where he was to go. It goes without saying, but since the time she was born, Jessica was raised in this mansion. The Western-style house that the cousins simply called the mansion was her home. And yet, she had never understood her cousin's feelings as much as she did today. And at the same time, her own home, which she knew well, had never felt so different a place as it did now. Her own room. Okay, Jessica. Keep your spirit up. I'll be rooting for you to do great. Whatever the test will be. This had once been her personal hideaway. The only place in this vast mansion where she could feel at peace. However, that door had never felt as intimidating as it did now.
テストだって。一体何が待ち受けてやがるんだ。まさか私の机とか引っかき回してねえだろうな。
She acted tough, trying to deceive herself, trying to make herself believe that she wasn't scared of anything. She readied herself and opened the door to her room. Hello. We are prepared for the exam. I mean, hopefully this isn't a chemistry exam. I'm not that big of a fan of chemistry. When she saw that, fortunately, the room didn't appear to have been messed up with. She relaxed. No one was there. Of course, there was nowhere for anyone to hide here. Right away, Jessica locked the door behind her. Now the room was safe. She peeked under the bed in the closet, but of course, no one was hiding.
なんだってんだ。
I mean, I guess our teacher is late. Well, you know what this means. If the teacher is late for 15 minutes, it technically counts as an easy win. You get a headship, the ritual is over, and your father is saved. She looked at a clock. 10 past 11, or just a little past that. As her tension lessened and fatigue came back to her entire body, she realized how messed up this whole day had been. It was still only 11. The plan had been for all the cousins to get together, have fun playing around, and talk animatedly about all kinds of things together into the night. Normally, we would have been doing that kind of thing at this very moment. Why has that turned into this?
全部あのクソジジイのせいだ。よくも母さんをみんなを。
Her head was swimming with anger and sadness. But there was no one here to direct those emotions at. Because of the lock, this room security was guaranteed. Maybe... Well, maybe it wasn't the right idea to actually lock the door. Like, maybe the one who is giving you the test is actually going to arrive soon. Remembering that one more time, Jessica somehow regained her calm. If he keeps up like this and nothing happens, and Jessica thought that she would like to go to the dining hall and see her mother's last face. Even though Gora had emphasized so strongly that it was gruesome, and that she definitely shouldn't look at it. Even so, she wanted to see her mother's face one final time. But they had been warned repeatedly that doing anything stupid would put the hostages in danger. Could it be that locking the door was also against the rules? If I close myself up in here, I alone might be saved. But if I don't open it, it will surely be against the rules. And that Kanon-kun, Shannon, Auntie Kirie, and Dr. Nanjo will be killed. There's no way the scales balance between 5 lines and my own life. Jessica tightly shut her eyes, resisting the other part of herself which said, "Isn't it alright as long as I survive?" Headed to the door and made to unlock it. Just then, clap, clap, clap. A crisp applause rang out, making Jessica's heart leap.
鍵をかけたままならルール違反ということになり、人質たちにも危害が及ぶかもしれません。
Oh, I don't know. So, I guess you are our teacher. Oh, that's nice. So wait, you're Okay, well, you're saying that. But why were we not informed of that before?
しかしそれでも自分の命だけは助かるかもしれない。しかしあなたはその誘惑に耐え、自ら鍵を開けようとした。そのあなたの勇気は称賛に値しますよ。
Wait a minute. Was that actually part of the test? Does this mean that Jessica won? Hooray! I, the owner of this room, has searched to make sure there was nowhere any human could have been hiding. Where had this man? There was nowhere for a human to hide. But could something that wasn't human have managed it? I was pretty sure this was my first time meeting with this largely built middle-aged man. Oh, I mean, I guess if we are to think in human claim, maybe they hid on the ceiling? Did they hide themselves Spider-Man style? I did not recognize this guy. It looked like a butler and bore the seal of the one-winged eagle.
はじめまして、ジェシカ様。
Now let me tell you, Jessica. While Ronoe over here is, he's a pretty strong demon that you should not let your guard down and all. I pretty much prefer him overseeing the test instead of someone like Beatrice or the other witches and demons. I'm actually pretty glad that Ronoe is here.
私は親方様より家具頭を任されております。72柱の27位。ロの上と申します。
ロの上？源氏さん。あ
あ、源氏は私の弟のような存在。あるいはこの世界における私の正しい姿だったのかもしれません。より白だったと言っても良いでしょうな。
何を言ってんだこいつ。
おっと、これは失礼しました。人間には話しても理解できぬ話。それでは本題に移りましょう。
クソジジイの言うテストとかいうやつだな。
さようでございます。
Okay, so what's it gonna be, Ronoe? Arm wrestling, shogi, little fisticuffs. Cause I gotta warn ya, Jessica is quite a feisty girl. She is quite spicy.
こちらが親方様がジェシカ様に賜れましたテストでございます。
I don't know his elegant gesture, like that of a butler ordering for the meal to be set out. Many gold butterflies flew out of nowhere. And the swarm of gold butterflies spun around, forming a small swirl as they gathered in one place. And then, that golden mound disappeared like a pile of leaves blown away by a cold wintry wind. And there lay a western envelope with the one-winged eagle crest done on it in gold leaf. Noby gestured to her to pick it up. Jessica timidly picked it up and opened the letter inside.
Nanda? これ。
非常にシンプルな次期当主の資格を探るテストでございます。そこに記されている問いに、どうか後ろ宮家を担う次期当主としての心構えで臨んでいただき、答えとそれに至ったお考えをお聞かせください。
Shaking, Jessica looked back and forth between the paper and Noby's face several times. At that time, George, who had been called out after Jessica, could be seen in the arbor of the rose garden. He had been planning to give Shannon the ring that would be proof of their engagement. Here, tonight at this time, if things had gone normal. Okay, I guess it's time to switch the channel to George and see what he is up to. But the woman in front of George now was not Shannon.
読みなさい。それがゴールドスミスからあなたに与えられるテストよ。
George picked up the western envelope on the table, where he had once drunk tea with Shannon, and read its contents. Perhaps its message was short. After a single glance at it, George's eyes grew sharp.
なんだいこれは。
見ての通りよ。それがあなたに与えられる次期当主の資格を探るテスト。次期当主としての資格を自らに問いながら、その問いに答えなさい。
なんてバカな問題だ。
そうね。本当にバカな問題ね。なら、ゴールドスミスにとっての後ろ宮家の家督なんて、その程度のものなんじゃない？
George lowered his eyes to the surface of the letter once again and examined its contents.